folks, this is your new spend plan / money tracker. What I'm going to show you today is how to enter your incomings and your outgoings, where they'll appear on the spend plan, and also how to change categories. So we'll start with the journal. This is the place where you're going to put your money that comes in and comes out of your account every day. I recommend every day because it's a lot easier to keep track. Plus, it says to the universe, every day I'm focused on my money and making sure that I'm spending within my means, and also concentrating on income and increasing that as well. So I think it's a good practice, but you can do it however you like, once a week, once a month, whatever. So I do mine first thing in the morning. Now I've put in 2 entries here, one on the 1st of August for groceries at £10, and that's Tesco. And then instead of putting a new entry below, we're going to put new entries above. So the way you do that, let's say I want to put something in for the 5th, I just enter a new line above, put the 5th of August, 24, and I am going to put cleaner, £40. I don't need to put a note there because I know what that is. But the notes are just for your own reminder. They are not stored anywhere other than on this page. So we're going to hop over to August because that's the month we're on. And we're just going to check that those entries have gone in. Now, down here, I've put a spend plan. So the only thing that you're going to enter on this page is the plan, because that is what is going to predict what you're aiming to spend that month. Now, if you're first starting with tracking your money, you're not going to know what to plan for. So don't worry about that. Just literally, ideally 1 to 3 months, you're going to track your money, and then you're going to see some averages come out, and direct debits are easy because they're set every month. But other stuff that's variable, like groceries, eating out, coffee, entertainment, whatever, you'll see a trend, and you'll see whether you want to decrease the amount of money you're spending on that, or whether you'd like to spend more on, say, maybe there's no money in dental care or in healthcare. Maybe you want to increase those areas. So that's what the whole spend plan is for. But for the beginning, you just literally want to make the habit of entering your incomings and outgoings daily, and then making sure that you hop over to the month that you're entering and make sure that the line is making sense, because it's very easy to upset the formulas in here. If you have deleted something by mistake on this page or on the categories page and you haven't entered it correctly, it can miscalculate the formulas. So you want to make sure that you try not to enter things where you're not supposed to enter them, so that everything works seamlessly for you and you don't have to change anything. What I would suggest when you download this form is to make a template. So go into File, go into Make a Copy, and then just save a copy as template, so that whenever you do mess it up, then you can go back to the template and you can know that that one has the original formulas without any mistakes. So going back to the journal, I have groceries, I have eating out, and I have cleaner. That's all in week 1 because I've done the 1st, the 2nd, and the 5th. So if we hop over to August, you'll see week 1 is 1st to the 7th. Week 2 is 8th to the 14th. So there shouldn't be anything in week 2, and there's not. You can see here, subtotal. Sorry. That is not supposed to say spiritual. And we'll look down here for groceries. So the plan was 50. I actually spent 10. That means I've got £40 to spend according to my plan, and it was £10 spent in week 1. Eating out, £50 in the plan. I've actually spent 25. That means I've got £25 more to spend that month. Now let's say I had put £20 in my plan. The actual spend was 25. So if you've gone over your spend, it will show you in purple brackets whatever the amount is, and then in brackets that means you've gone over, so you kind of need to recoup that money somewhere, because the whole idea of this is that we're working towards a spend plan and we're not really overspending or underspending. It's going to happen, but in an ideal world everything fits within the spend plan, which is the first column, right? So let's put some money in the income. So you've got a client called Mr. Smith. So you don't want him to be called client 1, you want him to be called Mr. Smith. So we're going to go into categories. Now don't enter anything in the white areas. This is already what's there. This is what's there in column A as it shows on the spend plan, and in column B it's in alphabetical order. So go down to the yellow bit and you can change Jim Bob to Mr. Smith. You can also put Mrs. Smith underneath for a new one. You can press enter. Now you go back to August and you can use the drop down menu and find yourself Mr. Smith. There he is. Now you can say, Mr. Smith is supposed to be paying me £5,000 this month. So there's nothing in actual month because you haven't entered anything in your journal as incoming yet. So let's go back to August. It's showing that you are minus 5,000 that you've predicted. So you've said 5,000 is coming in, but £5,000 isn't actually there. So let's fix that. Let's put it in to week 2. So let's go to the journal. Let's enter a new line above. Let's say on the 12th of August, Mr. Smith paid you 4,500. Go over to August. You planned for 5,000. He actually paid you 4,500, which means you're below what you predicted, £500. And there's the entry, 4,500 in week 2. You can then either change client 2 to Mrs. Smith or whatever you've entered in the categories tab, or say you owe Mrs. Smith some money. So you can change plumber to, not like that. Use the drop down. So I find when you try and type it in, it doesn't work. So just scroll down. There's a little bit of a pain, but hey, it's not perfect. To Mrs. Smith, say you owe her, you're planning to pay Mrs. Smith 500. But you have actually paid Mrs. Smith 600. So let's do the 13th of August. See, on this page, you can type it and it will come up. But on the actual spend plan page, it doesn't seem to do that. I don't know. 600. Assistance. Or whatever. Can't spell assistance, never mind. So, you have put Mrs. Smith in. You're planning to pay her 500. You've actually paid her 600. You've overspent by 100. And it came out in week 2. So everything under this line, under the first lot of entries, is all outgoing. So, and I've put, random stuff that you may or may not need. If you want to get rid of stuff, hide it. Don't delete it. If you delete it, it will upset the whole formula. So, for example, you don't need, you don't have any children. Highlight that and hide rows 95 to 99. Boom, it's gone. So it makes it smaller. You don't have to worry about it, but just don't delete it. Otherwise, it will mess up the whole formula. So we can go up here and just have a little view. You plan for 5,000. Remember, if you're just starting out, don't worry about the plan. It's just going to tell you what you've actually spent. So all you need to worry about is actual month and then moving over. But let's say you get to a point where you've planned 5,000. So your plan is income 5,000. Your total expenses planned is 570. What you're left with at the moment is 4,430 in your plan. But your actual month, 4,500 came in. Your total expenses in real world is 675. So what you're actually left with is 3,825. So you can see I plan to have 4,430, but I've actually got 300, and so I've overspent. And it will tell you here, you've overspent by, well, you've under-earned by 500 and you've overspent by 100. So this is going to look a bit scarier as you go through the month, but at the end of the month, that's when it's going to tell you the real money, because you might not have any money coming in for the first, the second, or the third week, but all the money comes in on the fourth, and then it kind of balances out. But it's good to be able to see how you're going when you eventually do get a plan, because you can see straight away each week, each day even that you enter stuff, what you've planned for, what it's actually, and how much you've overspent. Also, what's really handy with this is in the beginning, I would miss payments by mistake, or some things would come out twice by mistake. And I had no idea about that, especially the missed payments, because if you miss a payment, you still owe those people money, but they might double charge you the next month, or they might hit you with a fee. So each day I kind of make sure that once I put stuff in the journal, I then come over here and make sure that it's entered correctly. Then at the end of the week, I make sure that everything that was supposed to come out in week 1 has come out, because you get to know what comes out in week 1 and week 2 eventually. You can also write that up on your board in front of your desk or whatever, just so that you know what to expect every month and every week. And then at the end of the month, I want to have a look over this and being like, right, I've overspent on coffee by 100. Is that realistic? Does that make me happy? Or would I like to keep that £100 and put it towards a holiday or dental care, because I haven't got any money for dental care, or fill in the blank. So it can start to give you an idea of where your money is going and where you'd actually like your money to go. Do you have a prudent reserve? Do you have money saved for holiday? Do you have money saved for your annual car insurance? So those things come around and they're not a surprise. And don't forget tax. I've got a whole section down here for, she says, for tax. So HMRC, if you've got any tax debt, debt repayments. So all that stuff is taken care of for you, and it's all down there, and then you just basically set it and forget it. All you're doing is entering. So all you really need to worry about is entering on the journal page. If you need to change a category, add it in here on the categories page, but only in the yellow part. Once you've entered into the journal, you come over to the month and check that it's there, and eventually you start to make a plan. Any questions at all, please feel free to leave a comment, text me, or send me an email, and I will be happy to help.